WWE backstage developments. Huge breaking news that we're going to give to you right now and not wasting your time. If you want more videos like this, like, subscribe, comment, become a channel member today. Click the bell. Ladies and gentlemen, right at the top of the video, we got a lot of jeopardy. We got a lot of jeopardizing. We got a lot of controversy. We got a lot of conflict. We got breaking news on Wrestlemania. We got breaking news on Seth Rollins. We got breaking news on the World's Heavyweight Championship. We have a lot to get into, so let's not waste any of your valuable time. And we're going to jump right into the hot topics that are happening this morning, even overnight, and all the changes and all the developments. This is, again, why we do multiple videos a day. Seth Rollins' injury has thrown WWE's creative plans into absolute chaos and bedlam, but now we know just how big those plans really were. Because according to those that know, the dirt sheets, the websites, and the newsletters by way of Ringside News and the Wrestling Observer Radio, Seth Rollins was penciled in for one of the biggest matches WWE could book, a WrestleMania showdown in 2026 with Roman Reigns. Yes, you heard that right. WrestleMania 42 would have saw Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins one-on-one. While discussing Rollins' health and a shocking turn by Braun Breaker, as we all know, the Vision has turned on Seth Rollins. It's been revealed that the Vision's leader, Seth Rollins, was supposed to collide with Roman Reigns on the grandest stage of them all. Seth Rollins was tentatively scheduled to wrestle Roman Reigns at WrestleMania next year. It was also explained that the long-term vision of Rollins' faction was never about him, but about launching Braun Breaker into absolute superstardom. Because the whole thing with the faction was not about Seth Rollins. It was about Braun Breaker and about making Braun Breaker into the next Roman Reigns. Now, how they were going to do that, I wasn't told. I was just thinking that's how it would end up. That at the end, you know, Braun does turn on Seth, but I doubt it was going to be this soon, this early. Also, it was speculated and noted that WWE had already planted the seeds for the eventual split, but at a much slower pace. Especially because of the way they did the pay-per-view. It was like they planted the seeds for this to happen in the future. Like they said, what happens if Cody wins? And Paul says, well, we all know what's going to happen, but then Seth won, right? It was like, okay, well, they thought some more time, but we all know it's going to happen in the end. It was emphasized that WWE wanted the break-off to pay off down the road, with Rollins versus Reigns being a central piece of that puzzle. Those were my impressions, but it was going to happen at the end either way. Rollins was going to get turned on. He was going to be thrown out of his own group. For the last 2 weeks, it was like, okay, they're planting the seeds for a long time down the road. But now, due to the circumstances, a huge change in developments, if he's hurt, maybe they don't know how badly hurt he was. But if he is, they had to change everything. The injury has now forced WWE to pivot, pulling the trigger on Braun Breaker's betrayal of Rollins much earlier than anticipated and leaving WrestleMania plans wide open. What could have been a blockbuster Roman Reigns versus Rollins match main event may no longer be possible, especially if Seth Rollins is out 6 months to 1 year. According to rumor and speculation, Seth Rollins may have to relinquish the WWE World's Heavyweight Championship, and if not, he would then have a very short match with CM Punk at Saturday night's main event, where CM Punk would pick up the win in about 5 minutes. Because Seth Rollins is injured, hurt, and Seth Rollins is not 100%, but there's a lot more to come. Because do you think that WWE should still try to book Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? And if Rollins heals in time, if he can come back sooner than anticipated, or has the ship already sailed on Seth Rollins in his vision? However, we got more breaking news on this development. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to hype up this video. It's so important to donate below with a super thanks donation. We got more breaking news. Become a channel member today as well, because I can't do this by myself. I can't do this alone. Use your credit card below to become a channel member or donate with a super thanks donation. We are on location. Or is this just a ruse? Is Seth Rollins setting us up? Is Seth Rollins pulling the wool over our eyes? We all saw what happened at SummerSlam when CM Punk won the World Championship. Seth Rollins came out in crutches. He came out like he was hurt. He was injured. He was handicapped. And then all of a sudden, Seth Rollins has his knee brace on. And then as Seth Rollins is turning around, he lets go of the crutches. And then Rollins runs down to the ring 100%. Is this, again, more foolery? Is this more fakery by Seth freaking Rollins? You have to wonder. You have to assume now. We all know Seth Rollins is all about setting up the future. Something major has happened, guys, in a shocking turn of events. What's going on? Just weeks after making a shocking return from WWE to All Elite Wrestling, AEW, the 6-year anniversary episode of Dynamite, attacking Kenny Omega and aligning himself with the Don Callis family, Andrade had suddenly disappeared from AEW TV already. Since his return, Andrade has not been seen or even mentioned on AEW programming. On the Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez talked about the mystery surrounding Andrade's disappearance. Alvarez pointed out that Andrade was missing from the Don Callis' birthday celebration in an angle that featured all the members of the Don Callis family except someone else who was in Japan after winning the IWGP World Heavyweight title, but still sent a video message. In Andrade, notably, AEW made no reference to Andrade's status during the segment or in any recent broadcast. What the hell is going on with Andrade? First, he leaves the WWE. Now he's lost. Now he's ghosted out of AEW. What in the holy hell is going on with Andrade and All Elite Wrestling? Your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions. Also, breaking news on Saturday night's main event in the World Heavyweight Championship from the red brand of Raw. And remember, guys, comment below. Now is the time to not be mute and not be silenced. Get it all out right now. And I'm going to ask of a very eerie thing because of YouTube and the way it's going these days. I want you all to unsubscribe. Yes, you heard that right. I want you to all unsubscribe. But then immediately after that, I want you to subscribe again to my channel. I want you to resubscribe. Click the bell and turn on all notifications just to refresh and make sure that you don't miss any of my updates, any of my notifications. Again, unsubscribe. Unsubscribe. Yes, you heard that right. But then I want you to immediately resubscribe to my channel. Click the bell and turn on all notifications. That way you don't miss any of my notifications, hopefully ever again. I'm just trying out different things here. WWE has big plans for Seth Rollins and CM Punk to collide at Saturday night's main event in Salt Lake City. But that match may now be off the table with Rollins' shoulder injury is casting serious doubt on what was supposed to be one of Raw's marquee title defenses. On the October 14th edition of the Wrestling Observer, Brian Alvarez and Dave Meltzer broke down the situation, revealing that WWE's original creative direction has been thrown into question and absolute chaos following Rollins' condition. WWE originally positioned the triple threat between CM Punk, LA Knight, and Jey Uso to determine Rollins' next challenger. They announced a triple threat match for the main event with LA Knight and CM Punk and Jey Uso, and they basically took turns during promos talking about that. Meltzer added that the original plan was clear. The winner would challenge Rollins at the upcoming Saturday night's main event. Winner, in theory, against Seth Rollins. Yeah, we got to figure that one out now that he's injured. It was explained that the match with CM Punk was indeed scheduled, but Rollins' health has changed everything. It followed up by saying WWE could hold off Punk's title shot if Rollins isn't cleared right away. I mean, here's the deal. If it's not a serious injury, you can have him not have a match on the Saturday night's main event. The next show is War Games. He doesn't need to have a match on that show, so you can really hold off this until probably December before it's really like, why is this guy not defending the World Championship? But Meltzer closed the discussion by making it clear that WWE's drastic angle on Raw where Braun Breaker turned on Rollins suggests that the company is already preparing for the worst. I think that based on what they did tonight, they think it's pretty serious. But if they didn't think it was serious, they wouldn't have done what they did so early. Seth Rollins' status is now the biggest question mark hanging over WWE. Doesn't it always seem like Seth Rollins is in this predicament where he's being pushed, or he's the world champion, or he's in the main event, and then something goes awry, something goes horrible, something goes tragic, he goes injured, something goes wrong. Seth Rollins has a checkered past and a checkered history with being injured while he's being pushed or a world champion. And with CM Punk waiting in the wings, the company's next move could reshape the entire main event scene. If Rollins can't go, fans could see a major shakeup that nobody expected, including CM Punk turning heel. Yes, CM Punk becoming a bad guy in the WWE, and Seth Rollins returning with a major face turn after injury. Again, rumor, huge reversal of roles. CM Punk turning heel in World Wrestling Entertainment while Seth Rollins turns face. But if Seth Rollins can fight through the pain and the agony, it sets up one of the most dramatic title defenses in years. The only thing certain right now is that WWE is walking into a creative tightrope. Do you think that the WWE should delay CM Punk's title shot until Seth Rollins is healthy, or should they crown a new World Heavyweight Champion? Will Seth Rollins be stripped of the world title? Will the WWE be forced to announce a new World Heavyweight Champion? Again, a lot of rumor, a lot of speculation, a lot of gossip about the game Triple H, or Triple H announcing either a new tournament or awarding. Again, this would be part of the CM Punk heel turn if they go the direction. If they go that direction, it would be part of the CM Punk heel turn where Triple H awards the world title, just hands it over to CM Punk, and then CM Punk becomes like the new corporate champion. Comes in with a suit and tie and looking good and looking corporate and looking spiffy. Can you imagine CM Punk becoming corporate in WWE? Your thoughts, your comments, your opinions, and your emotions on that. Also, at this time, Jeff Hardy admits that he didn't think he would be alive in 2025. Yes, you heard that right. Jeff Hardy said it himself. This isn't clickbait. This isn't fake. This is real. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Hardy admits, this is the headline. This is one of the big headlines, that he didn't think that he would be alive in 2025. Also, breaking news on the Viper, Randy Orton. IShowSpeed taps Randy Orton as trainer for a potential match in WWE. Is this something you would be interested in? Is this something you would be invested in? Also on the docket today, we are receiving word that Kota Ibushi's broken femur could keep him out of AEW for a significant amount of time. Your thoughts, your feelings on that. Also, Ridge Holland's WWE exit sparks harsh criticism of the company's new direction. Again, over the last week, we have seen more than 10 wrestlers let go, released, pink slipped. Now, it is being said by the Wrestling Observer, they laid out a situation in detail and didn't hold back on their criticism of how WWE has handled the decisions under the new ownership. It has been reminding listeners that Holland's match against Moose ended abruptly when the injury occurred. About a month ago, it was a TV taping. Ridge Holland versus Moose. Ridge goes down. Moose has to help him out of the ring. He broke his foot, had surgery. He's going to be out for 7 months. Today, he revealed that WWE told him that they're not renewing his deal when it comes up in November. I guess they're going to pay for the rehab, but basically, he's unemployed for 6 months and can't wrestle. Meltzer was blunt about the reality of Holland's situation. Yeah, he can't wrestle at all. Alvarez pointed out the irony, saying WWE often freezes contracts when wrestlers are hurt, yet chose to cut Holland while he was sidelined. And a company that every time someone gets hurt, they do everything in their power to freeze their contract and tack time on to the end. In 1 week, they fired someone who was pregnant, and Meltzer interjected with his own harsh sentiment. Look, a lot of the times people go like, oh, if Vince was there, that wouldn't happen. Usually that's total BS, but I will say this. If Vince was still there, they probably wouldn't have fired him until he was healthy. They wouldn't want a lawsuit. The new ownership, they're cold. They're out for profits. No loyalty. Same thing happened with UFC when Endeavor took over. People who helped build a company for years dumped. Again, this is a major thing, guys. TKO is ruining the WWE. Not only have the ticket prices skyrocketed. Now, if you want to watch WWE RAW, if you want to watch PLEs, you got to buy this package. You got to buy this network. You got to buy this app. You got to buy this, that, and the other. You got to, it's not just Peacock anymore. It's Netflix. It's ESPN. It's this, that, and the other. It is completely out of line. It is ridiculous. It's not even a financial thing. With the amount of money that the WWE brings in, they can afford it. It's just heartless. Do you know how many wrestlers that they could employ for years and what Cena's merch made this weekend? People are saying 90% of the crowd was wearing his t-shirt. I paused the footage. It was about 35%, but still $70 per shirt. Let's say they sold 4,000. That's 280,000. The obvious place for him is in TNA once he returns. There were people that never really liked him, but there's a lot of people that did like him. For Ridge Holland, a once promising star with a rugby background and time alongside Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes, this is a crushing setback. And, of course, we all know the injury that he put on Big E, the former WWE champion. Again, he is the reason. Ridge Holland is the reason why Big E is no longer wrestling and had to retire from in-ring competition. What are your thoughts and your emotions on Ridge Holland in World Wrestling Entertainment? Breaking news on the red brand of Raw. WWE changed Raw plans last minute to boost low ratings amid the Seth Rollins injury concerns. Because, again, viewership and numbers have been down for Raw. Although I got to say the WWE are picking it up big time. But who can replace Seth Rollins at this stage of the game? Io Sky had very little time to change WWE ring name. Yes, you heard that right, little time. Io Sky admits that she struggles with English promos in WWE. Booker T explains why WWE's latest releases doesn't surprise him. And the Hardy Boys admit that they were surprised by Team 3D's retirement, the Dudley Boys retiring in TNA. Also, WWE's handling of Seth Rollins' injury fuels backstage trust issues. Yes, you heard that right. Backstage trust issues in the company. Your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions, your emotions on all of that. Obviously, it is a volatile time in the WWE. How should the WWE address Seth Rollins' injury? Should we crown a new champion? Should he be stripped of the title? Should there be a tournament? Should somebody just be handed the world title? If you remember back in 2002, Eric Bischoff just handed the World Heavyweight Championship to the Game Triple H. So it's not out of the realm of possibility of something like that to transpire. Plenty more to come. Remember to set a reminder to watch Seanzviewent Entertainment around the clock. We do multiple videos a day. Again, subscribe, click the bell, and turn on all notifications because we have a lot more blockbuster updates to give you in the next upload. Subscribe.